Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Mail Vaman, for this opportunity. I also thank South India Scholars Group of International Scholars for this opportunity and Chennai Center for China Studies for giving me this opportunity. Today, delving into the topic directly, the topic of my presentation is going to be the idea of Indo-Pacific, geopolitics and recognition of reality. So, going to the first thing, as a maritime highway, Indian Ocean has always connected people, cultures, and communities, including exchanging ideas, which also includes technology. So the Indian Ocean, from the starting, it starts from the eastern boundary of African continent, reaching towards the Middle East and going up to washing the shores of the Indian subcontinent and further linking up to the Indo-China Sea on a popular parlance, which is also called as the South China Sea. In this lexicon of Indo-Pacific, it has started to connect people, cultures, and communities. And disrupting such bridges of cooperation are developments like Iran and Pakistan resorting to nuclear weapons as a mode of communication, China continuing its rotational, what do you call the naval presence and adding a permanent military bases in the region. They have a permanent base in Djibouti. And the United States is striving very hard to meet the global commitments with an overstretched maritime force. And each of these developments has always got a cascading strategic competition, what do you call, among these states and contributing to a new set of security concerns in the region, which is geologically very youngest and as well as physically one of the most complex regions in the world. In this post-COVID era, the Indo-Pacific has, it has gained currency, increasingly prominence as a potential area for geopolitical rivalry, owing primarily to China's what do you call the post-COVID aggression, I would say, due to its geopolitical and economical interest in the region. As a result of which, it naturally leads to what I term to call the Indian Ocean security dilemma. Interestingly, Indian Ocean is also the only ocean which is named after a subcontinent, which is India, as you all know. So as we emerge into this arena of Indian Ocean security dilemma, it is also throwing up or shaping up a very significant, what I call a profound tectonic shift in three strategic spaces. So which I would like to list as 1, 2, 3. The first would be in this contested relationship between India and China, there are going to be the future, the next decade is going to witness many regional players with limited firepower or limited strategic muscle for power projection. They are said to emerge, playing cards between both India as well as China. The second strategic shift or space, what we call, is going to be with the US is now increasingly eyeing India as a reliable partner in this contested space through initiatives like what we call the Quad and through military diplomacy and military exercises between India and the US. With the emergence of Quad and increasingly now the Quad plus plus also, I would say, now there is also emerging counter-Quad arrangement. The counter-Quad arrangement is between China, Iran, Pakistan, and Russia. And this counter-Quad is shall see the geopolitical excision in the coming decade, which is set to witness in the coming decade. And the third most profound and important shift is going to be such contestation is also set to not limited to geopolitics, but also set to witness and enter into the geo-economical spaces too. As we can see, the decoupling of the global supply chains away from China, it has already become a reality following the COVID-19 virus pandemic and in the Indian Ocean region. Although such restructuring from the production firms from the traditional hubs from China to the new ones, it is going to take time because it includes setting up both the upstream and downstream supply chain networks, which is going to require a very significant amount of trust building also. It is also going to create new economic advantages for New Delhi for sure. The regional power centers of commerce, like say, for example, Japan, South Korea, and including even the European Union, I would say, they've already begun considering a shift of manufacturing operations out of China. So on a closing note, I would say in all these geostrategic equations with China located at the question, India is now increasingly seen as an answer to the strategic panacea, which is affecting the Indo-Pacific or the Indian Ocean region as a whole, for which India must view this not as a geopolitics, but as a sharpening of its edge in its scope of engagement in forging very strategic partnership with all players in the Indo-Pacific region, which could also define its position in the coming world order. Despite what you call differential perceptions that Indo-Pacific as a term can have due to the divergent concepts and theoretical views, but the common thread that all affects all that stitch together all these is about a rule-based international order for which everyone are wanting for. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Looking forward to the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Balasubramanian. Since Dr. Nandakishore has joined, let me hand over the session to him for conducting it. Before that, let me introduce Dr. Nandakishore. Dr. Nandakishore, MS, is an associate professor in the Department of Geopolitics and International Relations, and he has postdoc from the University of Leiden, Netherlands, and also serves as a fellow in the various think tanks in India and outside India. And he is one of the active